my name is Ruth. About me, my name is Ruth, and I live here in Sydney, and I'm your IELTS trainer for today. That's what I do. I teach PTE, IELTS, General English. I train people for TOEFL. So all that I do is train people for English proficiency test. I also teach English as a secondary language to adults, basically. So I'm involved in adult education and I teach English as a subject. So just like in every other English proficiency test, for your IELTS, you're tested for 4 modules. So all you're looking for is how proficient you are in your speaking or in your speech, writing, listening, and reading in English. So a person can be an amazing writer. A person could write really well, but if his speech is faulted, then the 7 band in speaking is not achievable. So it depends on our strengths and weaknesses. So here we detect what our strengths and weaknesses are. We focus on that so that getting a 7+ band in each module is a possibility. So without wasting time, I'll start talking about reading. So we're going to look at the different types of questions that we will come across in reading. I don't think I'll be able to cover all the types of questions, but I'll cover a few and I'll give you the strategies for it and we'll practice them together. And if time permits, we can do a little bit of listening as well. Okay, are you guys able to see my screen? Is my screen visible?
Yes.
If there is anything that you don't understand or you would like me to elaborate or you want me to repeat, please feel free to tell me and I'll do that. Okay, so your IELTS reading, what happens here is if you're a general test taker, your IELTS reading would be different from an academic test taker's reading. So let's look at the differences between the two. So IELTS reading, it's different for both academic and general training test. How long is it? It's for an hour, or you will calculate it as 60 minutes. So it's different from your listening part of IELTS because there's no time given to transfer your answers. So at the end of your listening test, you're given some time to transfer your answers into your answer sheet if you're taking a paper-based test. But if you're taking computer-based test, you will not have a separate time to transfer your answers. So for your reading, there is no time given. So but I've seen students always suggest that you spend the last 10 minutes of your test time to transfer answers and check if it's correct. But many a time, what happens is when you transfer all of your answers from the questions into your answer sheet, there is a probability of you not being able to transfer it right, or you might mis-enter your answer, or you might skip a few answers. So if you're taking a paper-based test, what I suggest is transfer your answers into your answer sheet as soon as you finish your exam, as soon as you finish your each section. So when you finish section 1, transfer it. When you finish section 2, transfer the answers and then move on to the next section. Before I proceed, am I clear to you? Are you guys able to understand me?
Yes.
Okay, if there's anything that you don't understand, feel free to ask. Okay, so when we compare, so you'll be given a pencil in your test, but you'll have to carry your own eraser if you are attempting a paper-based test. You have to carry your eraser in case you have to erase it. So each of your texts, section 1, 2, and 3, will contain about 750 to 900 words in each section. There are 3 sections and the difficulty levels keep increasing as you move on. So section 3 is the most difficult of all. Section 1 of the general training test is quite easy. So it's going to be related to your real life activities, real life applications. Section 2 is a little more difficult when compared to section 1. And section 3, it's kind of academic for both types of test takers. Or if you're a general if you're taking your GT test, then section 3 is either academic or it'll talk about an abstract topic. So it's not just academic, but it'll also talk about an abstract topic. So this is the difference between your GT and academic reading. So section 1 of your academic will contain just one text, and this text is going to be between 750 to 950, 900 words. So this is going to be the level. It's going to be at an undergraduate level. It'll be a topic of some academic general interest. So the topics are taken from either a sociology topic, or it's going to be something from biology or history from academic journals, magazines, and textbooks. In general training of section 1, usually you'll have one text, but sometimes you'll have 2 or 3 texts. They are relatively short and easier when compared to this, and it's based or it's relatable to your everyday life. So it's borrowed, or it is, those are excerpts from your job adverts, travel information, travelogues, it's notices or safety information. Am I clear so far? Is there anything you don't understand?
It's clear.
Okay. Section 2 of your IELTS in academic, you're going to get one text, and it's going to be at an undergraduate level or an early postgraduate level. It's academic, it's purely academic. It's borrowed from the same sources as section 1. And section 2 is usually 1 or 2 texts. It's related to, something related to work, either employers, employees, workers, worker rights, unions, something to do with these kinds of topic. So it's borrowed, or they are excerpts from job adverts, from travel informations and sources, like I mentioned earlier. So section 3 of both general and academic are the toughest. So if you're looking at academic, then the level is at a late or a higher undergraduate level or at a postgraduate level. And it's borrowed from the same sources as before. The reading passages are taken from there. And section 3 of your general training is the toughest of the 3. And you'll have one long text discussing academic or any abstract topics. It could involve topics like something to do with psychology, or something to do with dreams, something abstract, where you will need to use your imagination along with your reading skills. Any doubts so far?
Why we have academic in general training section 3? Why we have to
No,
do academic
that's a comparison between the two. That's
between
a comparison between general and academic reading. So that's general training versus academic training. So I was giving you a comparison as to what is the difference between these two readings.
Okay, thanks.
Do you want me to go back to that and show you so that you'll...
Yeah.
So this is the comparison between academic reading section 1 versus general training section 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the difference. So if you're looking at GT, this is your only job. Okay. And this is your section 2. This is the difference between academic reading section 2 and section 1. And this is your section 3. Clear? Better? So can we move on?
Yes, please.
Okay. So in our reading questions, we'll be having about 14 types of questions in your reading. And not all the 14 will appear in your test. So the most common ones are discussed today. So we'll discuss them one after the other. So this is one of the most common question type, which is called true, false, not given. So this is the task description. This is how you, this is what you're supposed to do. So you'll have to check that there is a question, there's a reading passage given, and there are questions appearing after the passage. So there is a statement given, or there are a few statements given from the passage, and you'll have to check when compared with the passage, if the statements agree to it, whether they comply, whether it is true with regards to the passage, or if it's false That means if it contradicts the passage, or if the information is not given, then you mark it as not given. Are you able to understand me? So after the reading passage, this type of a question will ask you if the statement is agreeing with the passage. Did you understand me or no?
Yes, clear.
Are you guys able to understand me?
Yes.
So there is going to be a reading passage, and after that, if you find this type of a question, what you're supposed to do is, there are statements given to you. There are question statements given to you. So there might be one or two, maybe four statements given to you. You look at the first statement and you'll have to decide, is this statement agreeing to the text that I'm given, or is it contradicting the text, or is the information in the statement not given in the passage? Okay, so you're comparing the given question or the given statement to the passage, and you're understanding if it's true or false, or if it's not given. Any doubts? Okay, so what is a strategy, or how do you approach these types of questions? You guys, if you want to take a picture of this, feel free to take a picture. If you want to note it down, doesn't matter. Okay, so this is the strategy for this type of a question, for true, false, not given. This is one of the many strategies. There are many kinds of approaches for all your IELTS questions. This is one of them. Feel free to use it, but if you're following a tried and proven technique that's working fine for you, then stick to that. That's okay. So the first thing that you do is you read the statement that's given. So you read the instructions carefully, and you make sure that you know if it's a true, false, not given, or a yes, no, not given kind of a question. Okay. Before we continue, there's one thing that you should be knowing. Please give me a minute. I'll stop sharing my screen, and there's one more important thing that I should be telling you before we enter into the question types. Please give me a moment. I'm stopping to share my screen and pulling out another document. Give me a minute, please. I'm sorry. So there are two techniques that's important for your reading. What are the techniques? Do you remember what the techniques are for your reading? There are two skills that's important for you for your reading. Do you understand, or do you remember what the skills are? Anybody who understands what's the most important technique, or what are the most important skills that's important for your reading? Nobody? What's the most important thing for your reading? What are the techniques, or what does everyone always emphasize when you're doing your reading questions? Have you heard of the techniques called skimming and scanning?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so those are the most important skills that's required for your reading. So what is the meaning of skimming?
Run through quickly.
Skimming is, please pay attention, skimming is a process, or skimming is a tool. It's a technique of reading where you're running your eyes through the passage. You're running your eyes through the passage, trying to decipher what is the big picture of the passage. So you're running your eyes through the passage, and your aim is to try and understand the gist or the overview of the passage. Is this clear? That's called skimming. Skimming is you run your eyes through the picture. You're not looking for details. You're not reading the line between the lines. You're not looking for anything in general, but you're running your eyes through it, and you're trying to understand what could be the overall view or what could be the gist of the passage. That's why you're skimming. That's a very important technique, and it's very important for your reading. The second most important technique for your reading is called scanning. So scanning is when you're looking for a specific information. So skimming is used to get an overall description, to get an over idea. Usually skimming is performed before you attempt the test. Before you attempt the questions, you skim through the passage. But scanning is used after you read the question, after you read the sentence, you go back and look for a detail. For example, if your question is asking, is this statement true or false? So you read the statement and you go back to the passage and you scan and you look if the statement is agreeing to it or not. But if the sentence is asking you, if the question is asking you, what is the idea of this passage? Can you choose through the options what could be the idea of the passage? You go back to the passage and you skim, or you run your eyes through and you try to get an overview of it. Is this clear so far? Any doubts with skimming and scanning? Now I'm going to display 2-3 passages, and I want you guys to try and understand if you can skim this. Okay, so can you see my Word document?
Can you make it a bit bigger?
Yeah, I'm blowing it up. Can you see it now? Okay, I want you to look at this answer. I mean, this passage. Is this visible? Is this good enough? Can you see through it?
Yes.
Okay. Want you to go through this reading passage of Nefertiti, and I want you to try and skim through it. So the skill, before you start, while you're skimming, don't pay attention to your prepositions. So, you know, the words like to, because, before, after, even if the prepositions are not present in your passage, you'll still be able to understand the meaning of the passage. So for easy skimming, don't pay attention to your grammar words or your prepositions and conjunctions. You're only reading, trying to get an overall picture or the big picture of what the author is trying to portray in the passage. Okay. Can you guys, I'll give you a minute. And I want you guys to try and only skim through. Don't read for details, skim through it. And I'll display the questions for you. Okay, that's it. I hope you were able to skim through it. Now, can you try and find out, read the first statement given here and try and find out if this given statement is true or not.
It's true.
True.
It's true. So where is the answer?
Where it says in which they worship one God only.
So that's single deity and that's one God. Okay, what about the second statement?
Given.
Not given.
All of you agree?
False. False. False or not given. False.
You can't do that. You should stick to one, either false or not given.
False. False.
False. Everyone agree with that? Or
I didn't see. I thought it was not given.
yeah, the answer is not given because we don't know if she was the most famous queen or not. Okay, what about the third one?
Not given.
Not given as well.
Actually, the answer is false, right? So she was an Egyptian queen and she was the consort of the pharaoh. Yeah, so the answer is over here. So this guy is the pharaoh. Pardon me, I don't know how to pronounce his name. And she is his wife or his chief consort or his primary wife, his main wife, his chief wife. So
Pharaoh
this guy is the pharaoh.
It's a male.
Sorry?
Pharaoh is called male king.
It doesn't specify it's a male or a female, but there's only one pharaoh. There are no two pharaohs.
Yeah.
Okay, so when this guy was the pharaoh and she is his wife. And she was the queen.
The problem with the yes no question is that there's always confusion between
No and not given, right?
and false.
Yeah, so I'll give you the strategies or the approaches for that. This question type, the more you do it, the easier it gets. So since you're still beginning your IELTS journey, I suggest you start solving it from today. At least every day, do a few true, false, not given, or yes, no, not given questions, and that will help you to get used to it.
Do we have any free IELTS practice websites?
Oh, there are plenty. There are so many. And there are also websites, no practice websites, but there are mock tests and you get plenty of materials online, books online.
Can you recommend some to us, please?
So there is so many. I'll put it on the chat. So the most, the most effective one that I've found is IELTS Liz. I have nothing to do with her, but I still recommend her. I was recommending her so much that someone asked me if I'm related to her or something. She's extremely good. Her content and her explanation and things are really good. And but the thing is, the disadvantage is we can't download her material, but you can practice it online. So another one is IELTS Advantage. There's another one called IELTS Buddy. Another one called IELTS Jackie. Okay, then for your mock tests, you can use websites like, does anyone know any mock test websites? Nobody? None? Nothing? I can hear crickets. Have you guys practiced your mock tests? Have you taken any mock tests before? Nobody? Okay, there is one that I know. Onlinetests.com, I think. IELTS online tests, or give me a minute, I'm just checking it. IELTS online test or tests online. Okay, so this is called IELTSonlinetests.com. So this is a free website to practice your mock test. I think, I think those are your practice websites, and you can practice. You can download tests from there's a website called IELTS Fever. You can download free books, practice books from here. .com. Then there is another one, magoosh.com. So you can download books from here to practice. So the last three are to download practice materials, and the first few are to understand strategies and understand the explanation of each questions. All good? Okay, so shall we continue? So what are the strategies? Or that's the first type of question that we're going to see today. So that was for skimming. So you skim through. When you were skimming through the passage, the first thing is you got an overview. And the second thing is you realized where the information is. So when you skim through, there are two advantages to it. You will understand where the information is. So when I asked you where you found it, you said right here in the second line, the information was found in the second line. So you'll be able to detect where the information is found when you practice your skimming. So another passage for you to practice your skimming. Go through this passage, please. Give me a minute. Okay, this one. Go through this passage. Every school needs dog as a dog buster, as a stress buster. And skim through this passage, please. So I'll time you for 2 minutes. While you're skimming, make a note of anything important that you see or you feel it's important.
We just have to read it, or
Yeah, read it to practice your skimming. Skim through, not reading.
what are we reading here? Like, what are we trying to read?
You're
Keywords?
reading the passage and you're trying to find the overview or the overall view of what the speaker is trying to tell you. You have about 30 seconds. So you skim through a passage this big for 2 minutes, just to find an overview of whatever the speaker is trying to tell you. Okay, that's it. Now I'll display a few questions and we'll try to answer it just to see if you've been skimming it effectively. Okay, so the first question is this. You have to agree, you have to see if the statement is agreeing to it or not. The first sentence, can you read it? Raising levels of literacy was the main theme of the conference. So what do you think while you skimmed? Does the statement agree with the information or not?
No,
No.
well, it wasn't given anywhere.
Okay. What about the,
I think it was more to do with the mental health side, the well-being side.
yes. So it's more to do with mental health and with well-being. What about the second one? Online platforms such as Facebook and Twitter can have a negative effect on young people's lives.
It's false. It's not given exactly. They don't say Facebook or this is social media.
Yes. So this is just to understand that at one go, you know what the passage was talking about, and it has nothing to do with the first two sentences. What about the third sentence? There is evidence that presence of pets in schools help kids with mental health issues.
Yes. True.
It is true.
True.
Yes. And what about the last one? The government minister may introduce a national scheme promoting well-being in dogs.
Couldn't read this one.
False.
I couldn't read that one.
False. I think it's the last line. There's no plans for central dog policy.
Yeah, so there was no plans for a central dog policy. Another thing to understand when you're skimming and scanning is when you go through every paragraph. So you see in this passage, how many paragraphs are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs, right? So when you're going through your paragraph, the most important details are found either in the first two sentences or in the last two sentences. The reason being is to get an overview. So there are question types where they'll only ask you match the headings to this paragraph, or is this information right when compared to the paragraph? And in such kind of sentences and such kind of questions, the answer is either located in the first two lines or in the last two lines. The reason is whenever an author is writing or whenever someone is conveying something, the author either or the writer either introduces the topic in the first line and then he elaborates upon it, or he elaborates first and he narrows it down in the end. Am I making sense to you?
Yes.
So when you're skimming for the overview, please pay special attention to the first two sentences and the last two sentences of every paragraph. Now, we'll go to the types of questions in reading. We'll not be covering everything today, but we'll cover a few and solve a few questions. Okay. So the first type of question is true, false, not given, like we saw now, and you understood what it means. So this is also called yes, no, not given. So be very careful what the question is asking for. Is it asking you to state if it's true, false, not given, or if it's asking you to state if it's yes, no, not given? Okay, so this is the strategy for a true, false, not given kinds of question. Always read the instructions carefully, find out what they're asking for, so that you know for sure if it's a true, false, not given or a yes, no, not given question. So first thing, you try to read your question statement. You read the question statement first and underline your keywords. So your key idea, your keywords could be nouns, it could be dates, underline the keywords and try to find out synonyms, please. So you know what are synonyms? Synonyms are words. So the question might say, dog is man's best friend, and the passage might say the passage might say four-legged pets, or the canine pet is man's most loyal companion. So the synonyms are words which convey the same meaning, but they are written they have the same meaning, but they are different words which means the same. So highlight your keywords or underline your keywords in your question statement and try and see what synonym could be asked for in the passage, and then match the statement. So it's easy to find out if it's true, if it's 100%, or if it's completely complying with the passage, then the statement is true. If it is contradicting it, or if it states the opposite of what's there in the passage, then the statement is false. But If it's neither true nor false, then it's not given. So many students have the confusion if the statement is between false and not given. So false is only if it's contradicting, or if the information is different, then it's false. Am I being clear to you guys?
Yes.
Otherwise it's not given. So so once again, we'll go through the strategy. Find out, you read the question statement, highlight your keywords, try to think of synonyms. So synonyms is a very, very big factor. You should think of synonyms then as to how the idea would be expressed in the passage. So the words would be paraphrased, or the words would be expressed in different the words of the question would be paraphrased in the passage. So don't expect to see the same words. Think of synonyms, go and see if it's agreeing or not. And then be careful for about qualifying words. For example, the question statement might have words like most or some, and the passage might have words like all of them, or very few. So seldom and frequently. Always pay attention to qualifying words. We'll talk about that if you get stuck in any of the question. Are you okay so far? Is there any doubts between this question? I mean, about this question type?
No,
I've
all
got a
good.
question.
Yeah. Yes.
Can I ask? So we just talked about scanning just now. So do we scan first, then read the questions, or do we read the questions and all statements first?
So like I told you, there are several approaches to it. Personally, I always recommend, or I always vouch to skim first, skim through the passage first, and then look at the questions. But the thing is, not everyone is a fast reader. So if you're a quick reader, then skimming is your best friend. Please do that. But if you are not very fast at reading, then the extra skimming time could be a waste for you. Not a waste. You will not have enough time if you first skim through. So if you think you can read fast, then I vouch for it, because I skim through the text as well first before jumping into the passage. So there are two approaches to it. Either you skim first and go through the question, or if you're reading it slow, look at the question first and then go back looking for the answer in the passage. Are we good so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen and I'm going to open up a few true, false, not given questions, and we will solve them together. I mean, you guys solve it, and we'll discuss it after about 10, 12 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah.
The rest
All
of
good.
you, the rest of you here, are you all awake or are you asleep? Are you listening? All of you are so quiet. I'll stop sharing it and I'll open up give me a minute, I'll open up the test for today. Reading passage. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. I'll time you for about 10 minutes. Can you try and get this done? Or I'll time you for 7 minutes. Please use the strategies that you learned. I'm going to keep quiet now. If you've finished, you can put in the answers in the chat. Okay, that's the end of your time. So what do we do for the strategy? We read the first sentence. The room available has 2 beds, and we underline our keywords. Room, 2 beds is our keywords. So the room would be something like accommodation or something like that. Available, the room on available, accommodation available, the accommodation for rent or something. 2 beds would be 2 bathrooms. That's what I mean. 2 bedrooms is what it means, right? Okay, so it doesn't mean 2 different. Yeah, it means 2 beds, 2 mattresses or 2 beds. Okay, so and you underline, then you look at the synonyms, maybe 2 mattresses or 2 cots or something like that, the room, the accommodation, then you go looking for the answer. So I have 1 room available. How many of you say it's true for the first one? So Chanchal says it's true. Devanshi says it's true, right? So the
No, I
answer
said
is
false.
okay. So the answer is actually false. The reason is it's written with a double bed.
Double bed, yeah.
So there's an article which talks about it being single. So double bed is just the size of the bed. It's equivalent to 2 beds, but it's a. So it's 1. So the first answer is false. What about the second one? Can someone tell me what are the keywords here?
The Australian
Musician.
Dan.
Yeah, musician. in
And
Sasha's
musician.
apartment.
And
So,
musician.
yeah, so there's nothing much to look for synonyms here other than musician could be someone who's, you know, some kind of a music player or something like that. So what's the answer for this? Is it true or false?
True.
True.
Yes, so the answer is true, and the answer is given where? In the second paragraph, right here. What about the third one? So it says, it says the third room is occupied by Simon, who is from Australia. So he's an Australian. He works part-time in a music shop and is a great drummer. So it complies completely to the second statement, and it is true. When we look at the third one, Sasha does all the cleaning in the apartment. So this is the one that I told you about qualifying words. All, that means what? She does cleaning all the time. So that's our qualifying word. So let's go looking and see if she does cleaning all the time. What's the answer for that? Is that true?
False.
False.
False, because she does enjoy cleaning, but she does it and they do it together sometimes. What about the
Yes.
statement 4? What's our key word there? Likes being
Being
in the
in
open air.
open air.
So likes, what could be the synonyms? Enjoys, prefers, or something like that. So Sasha prefers to be in the open air. Open air is usually outdoors or something like that, right? Countryside or things similar. So what do you think is the answer there for the fourth one?
True.
True is the right answer. And where did you
Okay.
spot it? Over here in the last line. So I love watching movies, exploring, getting out of the city and into the outdoors. So she loves or she enjoys doing it. And that's why the answer is true. Any doubts so far?
No.
Are you guys asleep or awake? Okay,
Oh.
all of you, I mean, so quiet except for 2 or 3. What about the fifth one, the fifth statement? The room available. So room could be accommodation again. Think of synonyms always, guys. It's helpful for your writing as well. Available, what do you think is the synonym for available or are synonyms for available?
Vacant.
I'm sorry?
Vacant.
Yeah, vacant, that's correct. Ready to move in and things like that would be suitable or would be good enough for someone who likes to be quiet, someone who prefers or enjoys, someone who loves to be quiet. Quiet can be silent, can be less noisy or like that. So what do you think is the answer for that, for
True.
5?
True.
The answer is true. And where is it? It is right here. The bedroom or the room, that accommodation is a long way from the living room. So it shouldn't disturb you if people come around, and besides, we are certainly very respectful. So it shouldn't disturb, it's for someone like who is quiet, okay? So if you like to be quiet, you can go here. Then Sasha thinks her apartment is in the best part of Toronto. What's the answer?
Not given.
Not given.
Not given, she doesn't think anything, or we don't know if she thinks that way. Then Sasha has never had a roommate from Canada. What's
Not
the
given.
answer?
Not given.
Not given. So she likes to have a roommate. I mean, they prefer Canadians as their roommates, but we don't know if they've had one or not. Any doubts, guys? So did all of you use the strategies that we learned? Did you look through the sentence first, underline your keywords, go back and look for your answer? I think Jess did some skimming before he jumped into the question. Did you?
True. Yeah.
Okay. So let's do another one, another passage. That was quite an easy one, I think. Okay, this is another passage. And are they asking for true, false, not given? No, we'll go looking for true, false, not given again. Okay. Let's just discuss that question. No. There's no more true, false, not given. So we'll look at the strategy for a different type of question, and we'll come back to this passage and solve that kind of question. Can we do that? Can we look at the next question type?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So next question type that we will discuss today is called sentence completion, or it's just like if you've done PTE, it's just like you fill in the blanks.
Okay.
But here you do not need to arrive at the answer because you only need to look at the answer from the question. So it's called sentence completion. So there are sentences from the passage that is given to you, and these sentences contain a blank. So the sentences, maybe 4 or 5 sentences are taken from the passage, and these have gaps or it contains a blank. And you'll have to choose, they'll ask you to choose either 1 word or 2 words from the sentence and fill in the blanks. So that's called completing the sentence. So while you get such questions, they will either ask you to quote, or they will tell you that the words are unchanged, or they'll ask you to find the words from the passage. In such cases, you do not need to go looking for synonyms, but the word would be exactly the same in the passage. Am I clear to you?
Yes.
So the blank or the word that you're looking to fill in the blank, unless the question requires you to find a synonym, the word would be exactly the same word as in the passage. Okay, so you'll just need to go scan. So you go looking for details here, you go looking for an information. So you're using your scanning skills here, not your skimming skills. So you scan for the word around the blank or the words around the blank, and you go find out if it's the exact same word. But if it's not given, like choose the word from the passage, or the word should be from the passage, if such a thing is not given, then you'll have to think about synonyms. You'll have to try and predict what word you're looking for. Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll be scanning passages. Guys, does anyone have a doubt with this? Anybody?
No.
Okay, let me call people who are quiet. Subina, are you there? I have a doubt if you guys have muted me and you've gone off to sleep, you know. Sarabjit, are you awake?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and Subina, are you there? Sarabjit, are you able to understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
Chanchal, are you awake? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I'm outside at the right now,
Okay, that's
but
okay.
I'm listening.
That's
Sorry,
all right. That's
I
all
can't
right.
participate. Bye.
Okay. I have slept in classes myself, so I know it. So
Sorry, I'm listening.
all right.
Thanks.
Okay. So I'll just share my screen, and and after we fill it in, check your spellings, check if you've filled it in with the right spelling. Okay, so we'll go through the strategy again. So here you'll be filling in blanks, either for a word or 2, depending on what the question is asking. If the question specifies fill in the blank with a word from the passage, that means the word is exactly the same as in the passage. You do not have to go finding synonyms for it. So pay attention, see if they are requiring you to fill in the blank with a word from the passage. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing that you have to look for is how many words are you supposed to fill in, either 1 or 2. And third thing that you do is you predict what kind of word am I looking for? Am I looking for an adjective or a noun? You try and see what kind of word you'll have to fill in, or are you looking for a number? So you try and see what you have to fill in there. And then you go scan, look around the blank, find the words, go scan and find where this is located, and then fill it in. After you fill in, read the sentence again, and then check your spelling, and you're good to go. Okay, so we'll try and solve a bit of these. I'll stop sharing this and I will start sharing my screen again. Okay, is this good? Are you able to see it clearly?
Yeah.
Are you able to read it? Okay. So read the sentence first, try and predict. So what are they asking? Okay, you're supposed to put only 1 word from the text. So the word is going to be exactly the same as in the text, and then you're going to write it down. So can you do it by yourself?
Yes.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll time you for 7 minutes, and then we'll You have about a minute left. Can you fill in your answers in the chat after if you have completed it? Guys, do you need another minute? Your time is up. Do you want another minute? Or are you all ready?
Ready.
Okay. So let's discuss the answer. I think Jess has got almost everything, right? One more to go. Devanshi has got 2 or 3.
I'm just putting the answers in.
Okay. Do you want to put it down first, or shall I discuss it and then you check your own answer?
I'll check my own answers, no problem.
Okay. So the first answer for question number 15 is expectations. So can someone tell me where you located it?
In second paragraph, last line.
Yes. So the second paragraph, the second last line, the last but one line.
Yeah.
So here expectations in plural. The second one for a 16th question, the answer is any concerns with S. So make sure your spellings are correct. So can anyone tell me, so here, right? This is where you located the answer. The third paragraph in the first line. Then ask the team member to detail how the work is developing, for example, by providing a regular. The answer is report, R-E-P-O-R-T. Any doubts so far? So for question number 18, the answer is dull. And for question number 19, the answer is targets. For 20, the answer is micromanage. Micromanage is a closed compound word. So some of you have written it as a hyphenated word, but it's a closed compound word. What about it in the passage? It's still a closed compound word. Do you want me to explain compound words? Nice. So
Yes.
I'll give you a quick overview. This will help you for your writing as well. So let me pull out my notepad. So there are 3 kinds of, can you see my note? No, I'm not sharing yet. So there are 3 kinds of compound words in English, 3 types, not hashtag types. So there are 3 types of compound words. Words in English. The first one is called open compound word. The second type is called guess. The third types are called, or the third type is called guess. Anybody? Hyphenated compound words. So if you close the open compound words, might mean a different thing. And if you close the open compound word or open, so what does it mean? Open compound words, the examples are, can you think of anything for open compound words? So something like post office. This is one word, but it has a gap in between. Can you see post space office?
Yes.
So if you write it without a space, then that's a closed compound word and it's an error. It's wrong. So pay attention to your compound words. So the closed compound words are words, it's a single word comprised of two words, but it's closed. For example, you just saw.
Micromanage.
Yeah, and another example is, words like this. Macromolecular, microbiology, all these kinds of words are usually closed compound words. So these consist of two words, but there's no gap in between. And hyphenated compound words, words like test, takers, and so on. I'm sorry, my brain's not working. I'm not able to think of.
Ice cream.
Yeah, ice cream is either hyphenated or it can be an open compound word as well. So if you think of it when you were younger, if you're as old as me, when you were younger, ice cream used to be written with a hyphen, but then now ice cream is written as an open compound word, but people also write ice cream as a closed compound word. So don't worry too much about a hyphenated and open, but open and closed has to be written just as it is, okay?
Okay.
Even for your writing, pay attention to your compound words, please. Okay, so let's look at the next type of question for reading. Let me share my screen. Okay, so we just saw this question type. Give me a minute, I'll look at the... What's the next type of question? Okay, this is also a note completion or a sentence completion. Try and do this as well. Follow the same strategy. Try to predict the word and get it done, please. This is the same type. Can you try and solve this? Try and predict what word, then go look for it. See how many words, if it's from the text or what. So it's 7 words. I'll time you for 7 minutes. have about a minute and a half, guys. If you've finished, please start putting it in the chat so that I'll know you're done and I can. Okay, that's your time is up. Can we discuss this together? Jess, are you still solving it?
I was writing them down. Sorry, on paper.
That's okay. That's okay. I just wanted to know if you were there. I'm not nitpicking. Okay, so let's discuss the answer. So the answer for 21 is
Ability.
oh, where I closed it. Oh, give me a minute, please. I'm sorry. So the answer for 21 is flexibility. Flexibility. So copy it correctly from the screen or from the passage, and it says not more than one answer. So be careful, don't put more than one word. And then it's from the passage. So no need to paraphrase, no need to look for a synonym for that word. Go find the word and put it exactly as it is. First one is flexibility. Check your spellings, guys. The second one is unemployment. So I'll just write it down. Maybe that'll flexibility. Oh, you can just look at it. And the second one is unemployment. The third one is direction. Fourth one is suspicion. The fifth one is experience. Sixth one is graphics. Seventh one is media. Okay, so I'll just put this up. So this is the answer: flexibility, unemployment, direction, suspicion, experience, graphics, and media. So you practiced 2 types of questions so far. Do you remember the strategies for both? So try and use the strategies when you approach each question so that you have an order. You know where to start and how to approach it. Okay, that's why I give you the strategies. Any doubts so far? Anybody with any doubts? Anything that you would like to know? All good? So you found out where the answers are located, right? Do you want me to tell you where the answer is located?
No, all good.
All of you? So the first one is located over here. It provides flexibility. Where's the second one? 23. Where is it located? To follow a new. I'm sorry, here. It's inappropriate if there are periods where if you have blocks of unemployment.
Last third line.
Yeah, so here. And then for 23, where did you locate it? Direction over here. Yeah, to follow a new direction. Then, so different direction. So that's why you choose new direction. Then 24.
In functional last line.
That's right. And then 25.
in the last line, experience of it.
Yes. So in the last line, experience, where is it? I didn't get it.
Last 3 words, experience of it.
Okay. Then the next one, 25 experience is done. 26 enables use of
Graphics.
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 Then
Information.
27, yes, through graphics. Then 27.
Last line.
Okay, so well done about that. And we'll go to the next type of question. So do you remember the strategies? Take a picture if you want to. I'll go back to the strategy. If you want a picture, I can go back and let you take one. Do you want me to do that, or have you taken a picture already?
No, I haven't taken because I joined later on.
Okay, if you want to take a picture of these strategies, please do so. This is how you approach a true, false, not given question. So make this, the reason why I put this in this order is so that you have a guide, you know how to approach these questions.
Okay.
Okay, so go one by one by one, and this will become second nature to you. So this has to be done every day, at least 1 or 2, at least 20 of true, false questions. Try and find it online and try and solve as many as you can. The more you do it, the more you get used to these questions. So this is kind of a confusing question to many. This is summary completion, which you just did. I'm sorry, this is the one that you just did, sentence completion. So this is a pretty easy one. So for this, find out how many words you have to fill and if you have to take it from the passage and do it. Okay.
Okay.
Now let's look at another question and see. Let me open up the test.
And Ruth, one quick question, like where I can practice from?
So I have given you a list of websites which can help you to practice. You were not there when I put it on chat.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll copy it. Or if someone can just copy it from the chat and post it again for these guys to check while I take over the next question. Or I found it. So IELTS Liz, IELTS Advantage. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, I think someone has posted it.
Yeah. Thank you, Chaz.
Okay, so now we'll go to multiple choice questions. So these questions are multiple choices. Can you see it on my right? Or
Yeah, I can see it.
okay, so these so this is the third type of question that we're going to discuss today. Or if you're bored of listening, then we can start off with, bored of reading, we can do a bit of listening. What do you think? Do you want to continue with reading? Because we've covered only 2 question types. Let's do one more.
Okay.
Okay, so this question type is called multiple choice question. This is not a very commonly occurring question type. I think of the 3 sections, maybe only 1 section will have this. Okay, so this is not a very common question type. But the true false not given, I think almost all the sections will have a few true false not given questions. Let me look at multiple choices. Okay, multiple choice question. So this is a strategy that you have to follow. So a reading passage is given, you're given multiple choices. So there's a question statement and you're given choices and you'll have to choose the right answer from them. So a statement is given, a passage is given and you're given a statement, a question statement, and you have to choose the answer for that from the given passage. So the first thing is read the question statement. So, oh, this is for listening. Give me a minute. Okay, for multiple choice questions. Please give me a minute. Okay, can you see my Word document? Are you able to see my Word? Okay, so this is the strategy for the multiple choice question. You'll be asked for MCQs. Your job is only to choose the right answer from the given list of choices. So you have two question forms. Either you'll complete, so for this, you'll be either completing a sentence or you'll be answering a question. So this is your strategy. Firstly, read through your questions carefully, then skim the text to get the general meaning. So first go through your question statement, then go back to the text and find the general idea. Then come back to the question, or while you're skimming, you can underline the keywords. This is an optional step. So then you can come back to the text and you underline any keywords in the question and you think of the synonyms that you might find in your passage. Then you read the choice. So read your question statement, underline any keywords that you might think of. So while you're skimming the text, you can choose to highlight the key information, but that's an optional step. So then you read your choices and you underline any keywords in the choices and think about the difference in the meaning between the different choices. So look through the choices, they usually appear to be similar. Find out what could be the difference in the meaning and predict the right answer. Then go back to your text and read the text, use your keywords and synonyms and locate the part containing the answer. So this skimming will help you to find out where the answer would be. Then read that part of the text very carefully because you've already skimmed. This is easy for you if you do the skimming. Okay, so we'll go through the strategies once again. First, read the question statement carefully. Go back to the text and skim through the entire text. While you're skimming through the text, you'll be able to locate your answer. Okay, so this should not take you more than a minute. Then come back to your question and underline any keywords in the question and think of the synonym. Then read your choices and try to understand what's the difference between each of those multiple choice sentences. Then go back to your text and locate where there's answers. So first read the statement, go back to your text and understand where it's located, and then very carefully mark it. This is an easy question type. It's not a headache question type. It's kind of easy. So you'll just need to go back and forth. Once you skim through the text, you'll be able to understand where the answer is located. So let's try and do this. If you get stuck, I'll help you out. Okay. So what's our statement here? What's our question statement? We'll go through it as we went through the strategy. So what's our question statement? What does the writer suggest about finding new dinosaur? So what does the writer suggest? So it's a question. They're asking us to find out what the writer is suggesting about finding new dinosaurs. So suggesting is your keyword, writer is your keyword, finding is your keyword, new dinosaurs is your keyword. Think of synonyms. Writer could be author, could be the book publisher or someone like that. Suggests, advises, recommends, gives a new idea, informs, or something like that. Finding new dinosaurs, coming across, detecting, discovering, and new dinosaurs would be novel or new dinosaurs. I don't think you can paraphrase it. Now go back to your text and skim through, only skim through. So while skimming, your main job, guys, first two sentences, last two sentences of every paragraph. Okay, so take 1 minute and skim through the passage. Okay, just run your eyes through it. Then go through your options. Many scientists dream of being able to do so one day. It is probable. Now try to understand what's the difference between each of these statements. Try to rephrase it in your own words. Okay, now go through your text again. And try to find the answer. Shall I give you a little time to do this by yourself?
Are we just answering the first question?
Okay, I am trying to put the screen in a way that you can see it properly. So that you can see the questions and the passage together. Or else you'll have to go back and forth. Or maybe I can attach this on the chat and you can open it at your end. Shall I do that?
Yeah.
I'm attaching the document to the chat so that you can open it at your end. Okay, have you all received it? I'll also share my screen so that you don't have to go back and forth, It's not, I can't display it together. You can open it at your end and try and solve the question on page 48. Can we discuss the first one? Have you solved it? Are you able to do this? What do you think is the answer for the first one? So we'll read the question. Then,
C.
yeah, the answer is C. That's the right answer. Did you find the answer for the next one? Question number 34. So it's only fourth paragraph based. So we'll compare the options. So these are time consuming questions, even in your test, these are quite time consuming. See that you don't spend a lot of time for them. Are you guys stuck with this question type?
Which question are we doing?
34.
34B.
34B. B for boy. 34 is B. That's the answer. Guys, can I please have your attention for a minute? I know you're busy solving, but pay attention to me for a minute. See, while solving this, suppose you're reading question number 35. That's the sentence that you're reading. what you do is you see when describing the theory of how dinosaurs began to fly, the writer is. So you underline your keyword. Describing the theory could be explaining the theory of how dinosaurs began to fly. Now you go back to your passage. Now find out where he's talking about dinosaurs flying. So which paragraph is telling us about the flying dinosaurs, the dinosaurs began to fly?
Page 46.
Yeah, page 46.
Halfway down the first paragraph.
Yes, so they're telling us about, so right from page 45, the last paragraph starts about how the feathers started coming and how they started having wings and everything. And then it talks about all that. And then what do you understand when, and then you go back to your passage, you found out where he's talking about flying. Now go back to your question. And now you see the differences between the sentences. So is the writer amused that their flight is come about by a chance, or is he surprised, or is he excited, or is he confused that feathers were also present on some creatures' legs? So this is the difference. So the first three is talking about his emotions because of about their flight, and the last one is confused because the feathers are on their creatures' legs. So you know very clearly that it's talking about feathers on their legs here. So the answer to, oh, it's 35, right? So 35, the answer is C. It talks about that he's excited about it. So it talks about, this is one of the most stimulating new notions about dinosaurs and a fascinating area for further investigation. So we understand that that the author is, or the writer is excited about the dinosaurs flying. Now, if we look at the next one significance for melanosomes is significance. It could be importance, could be advantages, could be benefits, could be applications or importance or something like that, is that they. So we go locate where melanosomes is written about. So we see melanosomes, it starts from here. So in this passage, there's nothing about melanosomes in this paragraph. So only this paragraph, the second paragraph on page 46, only the second paragraphs talk about melanosomes. So we located where melanosomes are, and we skim through this. So while skimming, we pay attention to the first two lines, the last two lines. So skim and then skim through the passage, but pay attention to the first two and the last two lines. So after you skim through, you go to your question and look at the questions. Provide further evidence of where birds evolved from, can be found in only certain parts of the world, can be seen clearly in most fossilized feathers, are only found in certain birds and dinosaurs. So for question number 36,
A.
what's the answer?
A.
A is the answer. So that's how we do it. That's what I meant by the strategy. So read your question, then try to find synonyms, locate where it is in the passage, then skim through that paragraph, and then compare the question and try and find out. Okay, so these questions, they seem difficult. They're quite time consuming, but please don't waste your time on this. It can take away a lot of your reading time. Okay, so when you see these questions, don't do it right in the first. Leave this for the end. Finish all your paragraph, your headings and all that, then come back to this question.
Okay.
Do the last one. Which of the following best summarizes the writer's point in the final paragraph? So it's only talking about the last paragraph. So we don't, we skim through the last paragraph. pay attention to the first two sentences, the last two sentences, then go back to the questions and go back to the options. And now compare the options together.
D.
The answer is D. So the effect of the asteroid. Okay, so that's what it's found in the last statement. They found themselves in an empty world and the planet started to recover. So it's talking about the how the effects of the asteroid killed most dinosaurs. So the empty world is telling that the dinosaurs were all killed, and this word extinction as well. Okay. So even after we finish the class today, maybe go back and solve them, and I'll see you again tomorrow for another lesson. Maybe we'll do listening tomorrow. We'll look at the question types. We'll do a bit of reading and listening. We'll mix up both of it. So our IELTS classes are from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Sydney time. If you miss any of these lessons, we upload them on YouTube on this channel. So it's called CECA Sydney. And you can look at the lessons that we had yesterday about writing task 1 as well as one today. So it can be found on YouTube on this channel. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So see you again tomorrow for another lesson. Hope you all learned something. Have a
Okay.
good evening. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.
Bye.